Battlefield 5 is now 3 years old, and since its somewhat controversial release, it has come a long way. In this video, we'll take a look at all aspects of the game to see whether it's worth your time and money in 2021. Battlefield 5 is a multiplayer-focused first-person shooter, with this latest entry to the franchise being based around World War II. Gunplay is at the heart of any FPS, and Battlefield 5 generally does a good job of it. Recoil is pronounced but consistent across all of the 35 plus weapons, each of which carrying its own distinct characteristics. These characteristics are further enforced by Battlefield's class system, whereby you can choose to play in an assault, medic, support or recon role. These classes all have strong and unique abilities, strengths and weaknesses, which effectively adds variety but also choice into your gameplay options. The gunplay is fast but flowing, with a low time to kill making split-second decisions crucial. The scale of Battlefield's huge matches are, however, still its centrepiece, where all its gameplay elements come together in massive 32 versus 32 player fights. And if you find this video useful, then dropping a like would be very much appreciated, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to comment below. One element that Battlefield has really focused on this time round is teamwork. Within every game you have a sub-team of up to 4 people, and working together can be hugely beneficial, mostly due to the game's attrition system. Unlike some of the older titles in the franchise, there's a more pronounced sense of the consumability of your resources, with ammo and health being the main 2 factors. If you take significant damage, you won't regen back to full health, and unless you're a medic, the only way to get it back is to use bandages, of which you'll only spawn with 1. Medic classes, however, can give out an unlimited amount of this resource, so if you have a medic in your squad who sticks close by, you've already got a tactical advantage. A similar system comes into play with the support and recon classes. Support players can resupply ammo, and recon players can mark enemies for the whole squad to see. Other features such as being able to spawn on your squad mates and squad revive add to the teamwork factor yet again. Squad revive, by the way, lets anyone in your squad of 4, no matter whether they're playing medic or not, revive anyone else in the group. The final teamwork element is requisition points. Throughout every game, all your kills, revives, point captures, etc. earn you requisition points, a currency that the squad leader can use to call in reinforcements, such as tanks, planes, supply drops and more. These can be pretty influential to the battle, so working together to earn these points is something well worth doing. Alongside the gunplay, the maps play a big part of how well a game comes together, as well as of course how good it looks and feels. On the whole, Battlefield 5 has a great set of environments, from huge tropical islands to derelict cities. The variety does wonders for the gameplay experience, as the contrast between maps is so significant, a map change can make it feel like you're suddenly playing a different game. On the whole, the maps accommodate most playstyles and do a good job at balancing classes, and while some will certainly favour certain weapon types or vehicles, it feels like there's usually some sort of meta for your playstyle. Something else most of the maps also accommodate is Battlefield's now trademark destruction systems. Explosive weapons and gadgets can now take out the walls and roofs of most buildings, which for one is just really damn cool, but it adds to the tactics at play. You can root out snipers and reduce your enemy's options, but it's actually the construction system which has become a bit of a highlight for me. With the use of an ability that all classes have access to, you can build a variety of structures. At first I thought this feature was pretty useless and to some extent obsolete, however once I experimented with it a bit more I realised how effective it could be. It's most useful when trying to hold down a position in the point capture modes, as you can build things like blockades to stop tanks getting too close or sniper towers. In a few select locations you can also build more functional things such as ammo resupply stations or even artillery guns, which is a really neat feature. Now, while we're still sort of on the topic of the maps, I should mention the graphics because they are pretty damn good. I've played through on a PS5, and even though this game hasn't and won't receive a next-gen update, the colour detail and smoothness just overall is very impressive, and in my opinion it clearly beats out Call of Duty Modern Warfare. The variety within the maps that I mentioned earlier really lets the game showcase a beautiful set of environments, and this is great when it comes to the immersion side of things. Now in terms of multiplayer gameplay options, the mode Conquest still takes centre stage. These are huge 64 player battles where teams fight to control points. All the vehicle types come into play here, and this is arguably where Battlefield is at its best. There are a few other variations of this mode, as well as team deathmatches and even a battle royale, although it's completely dead so don't even bother. There are also community matches where you can either play people's custom game presets or make your own, but overall there's a good mix of modes with something for everyone as long as you're not looking for a battle royale. Seriously, it is shocking. Now while this game is certainly multiplayer focused, there is a reasonably substantial campaign and it left me with mixed feelings overall. There are 4 main sections, each comprising of its own story, about an hour or 2 in length. What felt like a letdown for me though was that the campaign just doesn't seem to play to the game's strengths. In what I can only assume was a pursuit for a compelling short story, developer DICE have avoided the things that make Battlefield, well, to some extent, Battlefield, because if I'm completely honest, a lot of the missions in these stories felt like a Call of Duty campaign. An example of this is how much you're placed on your own in these stories, conducting missions as if you're some sort of elite special forces soldier. In the introduction section that's placed directly next to these 4 campaigns, you're part of huge battles with tanks and planes all over the place, yet when you get to the campaign itself, a lot of this disappears. There's also an odd emphasis on stealth in many of these missions, with throwing knives and lures, however you can get by with the run and gun approach luckily. Now having said all this, I by no means think the campaigns are bad. While there's certainly a lot of missed potential, in each story decent characters are established and so are their motives. There's good variety at play too, thanks largely to the maps, however the main thing that holds it all up is the gunplay, which is a big part of where the fun factor comes in. Now at launch this game wasn't actually that well received, and the common complaints were the glitches, historical accuracy, its lack of content, as well as the change in direction since Battlefield 1, amongst a few other little things. The amount of bugs and glitches has definitely declined, and while there are still a few knocking around here and there, you'll seldom find a game breaking one. Lots of new content has been added too through new maps, weapons and modes, including a 4th campaign story. Another complaint that arose commonly amongst the Battlefield community was how it doesn't live up to the same qualities as many of the older games in the franchise. Now I completely get where these people are coming from, as the game has clearly stepped towards a much faster paced run and gun shooter, which is rather unlike the more slower paced vehicle saturated games of the past. This means that for die-hard fans of the franchise, this game was a disappointment. If however you're completely new to the series or have little experience with it, then the problem of expectations is completely alleviated, and I think this is why Battlefield had such mixed reviews. For the OGs expecting a super atmospheric and hyper-realistic World War II experience, this game is not what they were hoping for. However, I can see how a newer player could get completely engrossed with this and have a load of fun. I'm once again going to pull out the Call of Duty reference, because while this game still retains some of the Battlefield DNA, with the huge scale battles and more realistic gun mechanics, many other parts of the game lean towards the Call of Duty feel, as I mentioned earlier, the more run and gun format. Overall, Battlefield 5 is a game well worth picking up, as long as you're not a hardcore fan of older Battlefield games. If you're not in this category of players though, then there is a hell of a lot of fun to be had with this game, especially if you've got some mates to play it with. The gunplay is strong and satisfying, the graphics are great, and there's just nothing like invading a tropical island in a huge 64-player battle. It's currently included on EA Play, which is EA's gaming subscription service, so if you want to try it out, then for £4 or $5, you can play it for a month and extend your subscription if you love it. It's also on PlayStation Plus this month, May 2021, so overall this game is well worth a shot if you haven't played it before, and even if you have, come back and give it another try, because generally it's just a lot of fun. Anyway, that's all for this video. If you have enjoyed it or found it useful, then a like or even a sub would be absolutely amazing. But that's all, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.